to remember where you're supposed to be in the plan you've already decided to carry out. Okay, how many of you may have made brilliant, glowing plans for the future, and then just space it out, get distracted, head off in some different direction, right? Very common, right? However, if you work on developing future memory, it's a type of awareness to keep in mind, where am I supposed to be? At this point in time, let's say Perry decides he's going to go out there and his success is going to happen in, I don't know, 6 months from now. He has to be able to know that a month, 2 months, 3 months down the road, he can not only close his eyes and still see the path and the appropriate path from where he's right there, but he needs to see where he was and know that he's at the appropriate place 3 months into the 6-month improvement program. That makes sense? Yeah.
I mean, like deja vu, we were doing this bit in our future, it's how we're getting now.
It's a very reassuring form of deja vu. If you're doing it correctly, then you go, oh yeah, of course this seems familiar because this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, and there's this automatic course correction where anytime you close your eyes, if you wandered off the path, that's going to be over here. So all you have to do is take the steps necessary to go back onto the one true path. Yeah.
When you're clearing out the negativity and context anchor, when you say context anchors, most people aren't seeing.
No. Instead of saying, because we're working with a technical professional crowd here, if I were working with just your average Joe off the street, I say I'm taking away all the negativity, I'm taking away all the crap that people try to put on you coming from all around, friends, family, work, whatever. This we're taking it all away. You can just kind of define what a context anchor is without using the terminology. Okay, don't use any terms in trance you haven't already defined. Yeah.
When you bring the challenge comes down in one hand, and the abilities and the resources come down into the other, the knowledge of something you do really well. How do you keep it from feeding back so the thing that they knew how to do really well doesn't get harder when they merge? Do you use any language?
Sheer force of charisma, I guess. It never occurred to me that they would allow their challenge to overcome their already
We'll
existing.
find a way to turn everything negative.
Are we speaking of a friend of yours? Okay. What you can do is you can specifically tell them that the positive always outweighs the negative. The positive always overcomes the negative. Negative is always weaker because after all, negative is what happens when you take something away. You have less, and the positive, of course, is when you have more. Be very careful about embedding your preconceptions into your clients because they're highly suggestible. There's a hand over here. Yeah.
Keep thinking of other metaphors, like when you ran in the future, taking a cord from you, tapping and pulling the cord from time into the future. We're always connected to the future.
So there you go. You have the future self reel them in.
Yeah, exactly.
Dragged, kicking and screaming. Yeah, in your case, that's right. No! Oh, damn it, I succeeded. Yeah, that's true. I'm really big on the pixie dust because it's a very simple kinesthetic thing they can do even while they're seated. Okay. Sometimes if I'm feeling, I don't know, I need to amuse myself, I'll have them walk the timeline. Actually go out there in the future, turn around and look back. Have sympathy for the guy who's sitting there in the chair because after all, it's you. It's you who just didn't know how to make the change. And since the future you already knows how to make the change, come on, let's go down. Okay, and you bring the future self back here. Okay, so I'll have the future self stand behind the current self and whisper, no, over here. Okay, and there's all kinds of ways you can play with this. The pixie dust, however, is the easiest, most accessible way that you teach for basic students. Okay. What, you don't like this one? What? We're sitting here and you want me to just shut up so you can do the exercise?
Yeah.
Yes? Yes, okay. Pick a partner. Let's do this. That in your notes you actually have, I included like 5 or 6 pages of blank paper at the end of it, so if you don't have any other piece of paper, you can go ahead and use that. Look at today. I've been writing separate notes all this time. Yeah, not everybody has the wit to bring a notebook to class, so we go ahead and do something, go ahead, Graham. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to take 10 minutes and go ahead and write down a list of what you believe your beliefs are. Okay? Think of, yeah.
Do you mean individual beliefs about?
Individual beliefs about anything, but yourself.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, not belief that, puppies are nice, women smell good, I mean, none of that stuff. Beliefs about yourself. John?
Good and bad, right?
Good and bad. Okay? Be fair and be objective. That's how you get the real results out of this. Thinking about if somebody were to just look at you go through your life, would they say that they saw obvious evidence of this in your life? And if not, cross it off the list. Then you've done that. Turn the page over and we're going to start a second list. And this list is if there were an objective observer, if a highly trained observer were to be dropped down from Mars directly into your life, if they did only observation over what you've done over the past 30 days, what would they write down as a description of what your belief system must be? If someone, not knowing you from Adam, were to just be dropped down to observe your life for the past 30 days as an objective observer, what would they say your belief system must be? Think about what you've done in the past 30 days. Now, what would someone say? Well, they must believe this in order to have done that. Okay. Now, from your second list, cross off everything that already occurred in your first list. How many here, when they made the first list of what you believe, and then you do the cut based on, have you actually shown evidence of it in the past 30 days or not? Okay. How many here crossed off, say, more than 10% in your first list? Okay. How many here didn't cross anything off the first list at all? It's unlikely to be true. Yeah. We are, all of us, thanks to our powerful forebrain, capable of infinite lengths of self-delusion. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to come up with the actual beliefs because they depend on the context. I mean, I can believe different things when I'm at work and when I'm with my friends and when I'm at home just relaxing. And
how often do you manifest all these different belief systems? Give me an example of something that's true in one place and not true in another.
like, let's say at work I'm more organized, more...
I can hear you speak.
No, let's say at work I'm more organized, hardworking, whereas at home I tend to be more unorganized, more just laid back, and I don't really want to put much effort into like organizing the way my room looks like or anything like that. I mean, well, that's not necessarily true as well. I mean, because like I don't like my desk to be organized, but I like my books to be organized.
Mm-hmm. John?
Some of my more limiting beliefs on the first list caused me to do exceptional things in life.
Mm-hmm.
And the more limiting they are, the more I do the opposite.
Okay. Yeah. There's an
It
observation.
was amazing to me because I'm looking at this and I'm like, no, but this is what I actually do.
Mhm. Most people go through life believing they have a belief system that tends to generate kind of an idealized self. The purpose of this exercise, the reason we make the cut on the first one, in terms of did you actually manifest it in the past 30 days? If you haven't, chances are very slim that you actually believe it. You want to believe it about yourself. You may have convinced yourself to believe it about yourself, but it's not a belief in the sense of it guides what you actually do. Okay? Then on the second list, you pick up all those things that you actually did that you believe are outside your current belief system. When you do the second list with the mind of an observer, and you just watch yourself in the past 30 days, you'll find things that happened that you might look at it and go, oh, that was atypical, or that's not me. Did you include all the atypical behaviors that you did over the past 30 days? You should have, because there's a reason you did them, right? What we learn is that even though we have this concept of ourselves, our belief about our belief system is not the same as the belief system itself. Now, it's good for self-exploration to go ahead and start to go through all this stuff and find out where you're just kind of puffing yourself up, or where you're taking it easy out and saying, well, you know what, I actually am kind to cats. Okay? But you can't remember being kind to cats in the past 30 days? Or you actually booted one out of the living room? Okay? You find out that there's possible divergences between what I'm actually doing and who I believe I am. In our line of work, we're trained to listen to what people are saying about their belief system, because after all, these are the symbols they use to navigate their life. But it's far more important, when they're recounting their personal history, for example, to listen very clearly, very closely, to what it is they actually do. Because what you do illustrates your actual belief system. Right? You can't find any proof of it in the past 30 days. I have people raise their hands before I go, well, could we extend it out to 90 days? You know, 'cause I remember like the whole thing I did 70 days ago. Yeah. 30 days is a month. If you have a powerful true belief, do you suppose you'd show some clue of it within 30 days? Everybody find that they were crossing off a lot? Yeah. It's actually pretty common. Pretty common. Now, maybe we have an extraordinary group here. I don't know. Okay, but this is a very useful thing. It's useful for you to be doing from time to time. It's also kind of interesting to have your clients or your subjects do it. You can tell them that you don't find any evidence of that belief in their life. They'll argue with it, because after all, they believe it. Right? But it's a self-validation thing. If they cannot come up with proof of it in the past 30 days, it's pretty obvious about where the problem is, who has the problem. Right? And it gives you the launch pad on how to start building new beliefs. Yeah.
After the exercises we were doing yesterday, I went to bed at 7:10 on Sunday, and now have no idea what I believe anymore.
Well, there you go. There you go. You're wide open for change. How do you feel about your list? Good? Lots of strong positive beliefs? More negative than you expected? Okay. Anybody else have that kind of reaction? Yeah? Okay. Perfectly possible. Seems to be isolated to this side of the room, though. Oh, you guys are positive. I'll get out over here.
That's the left side.
Yeah.
The good news is, because beliefs are only thought forms, you can come up with brand new beliefs. But in order to make a belief really manifest strongly now, you've got to have some level of evidence for it, right? Otherwise, it's just an ephemeral thought form, and whoop, it goes right out the window. Okay, you can get a short-term stroke of saying, oh yeah, I now have this belief, and it's really cool. And you go out and do the same thing, because after all, without evidence, without manifestation, it's not actually real. It's just passing fancy. Same thing as, I hope the guys from Publishing Warehouse come screaming in the door and give me a check for $10 million. Okay. I believe it's possible. I don't believe it's real likely. Right? So when we start to design a new belief system that works powerfully well, you start to work with concepts like well-formed outcomes. Okay? People know what a well-formed outcome is? It's like, if you say to yourself, I want a new car, your subconscious goes, so what? You want a lot of things, right? This is no more real, no more substantial than I want 6 supermodels charging through the door begging for sex. Okay? In a new car. But if you actually want to get a new car, you have to say something like, I want, I don't care about cars. What would be a desirable car? Ferrari? Okay. I want a cobalt blue Ferrari Testarossa V12 engine. Okay. 0 to 60 in. I want the tan calf leather interior. I want the black walnut dash inlay. I want the Bose 7-speaker stereo system. I mean, I want the 17-inch wheels with spinners. That's the South Central Ferrari. You've got to be specific, right? It's like you say, I want to have more money. Oh, God, please, I want to have more money. And you just let that fill yourself up. Then you open your eyes and you go walking out. And you see a penny sliding on the sidewalk. Okay? Your subconscious goes, done. Okay? We now have more money. As opposed to, I want $1 million safely hidden in a Liechtenstein bank account that only I can access. Okay? It has to be specific. It has to be measurable. It has to be plausible. Right? It's like if I were to say, I want to be 6'2" in my stocking feet. Oh, yeah. Well, I'd know how to actually measure whether I achieve that or not, but it's not going to happen. Okay? If you were to say, I want to become an Olympic sprinter, okay? Well, maybe you have that desire, but your subconscious goes, well, you know, the odds are against it. Right? And it just decides you're just screwing around, thinking these thoughts like you normally would, and it doesn't have to pay any attention. If, however, you get real specific, then your subconscious starts to pay attention, because whatever you place the most emotion on, whatever you place the most significant effort on, your subconscious goes, oh, this actually is a direct command. This is what he wants. Okay? So when you have these outcomes, to find out how will my belief manifest, okay? All right, there's a pretty simple test about how you navigate through the world. You should try this for the next couple of days. Those are going to be in town the next couple of days, or try it when you go home, because you're going to be there longer than a couple of days. Okay? Unless you have a travel schedule like mine. Okay? I'm thinking about just putting pillow and blankets in airports, you know, so I can just like sleep as I go through. But ask yourself, say, you know what? I absolutely believe that the universe provides. And the reason I know the universe provides is I'm going to find a quarter on the sidewalk. Say it, believe it, absolutely. And then start walking around and see how long it takes you to find a quarter on the sidewalk. Or how quickly you can find a quarter on the sidewalk. How long it takes, bad suggestion, okay? How quickly you can find a quarter on the sidewalk. And then you do the second part of the exercise, which is, I believe that the universe responds directly to my requests. See the difference? The universe provides just out of bountifulness, or it responds to a specific request. Believe it, absolutely. I ask for a quarter. I demand a quarter. I deserve a quarter on the sidewalk. And then find out how quickly can you find a quarter on the sidewalk. Whichever one happens quicker illustrates what you actually believe about the universe. Right? Not what you believe, but something that's testable. Now, when I first ran across this exercise, I ran across a book by a famous trainer, and I thought, oh, and I went out and tried it, and I found out how I navigate through the universe, which is I believe I'm a master of the universe. Big surprise, right? But then I just thought, well, you know what? This could just be coincidence, right? So I happened to be later on at the seminar where this particular master trainer was talking about this. I caught him, we were walking back from lunch. And I was going, well, you know, about this quarter on the sidewalk thing, you know, and I told him my results and expressed my doubts and hesitation. He's kind of looked at me and he says, Cunningham, you aim small, that's your problem. And there's a clue right there as to which trainer was, that's your problem. Okay, so I said, well, okay, well, you know, you're the big shit trainer here, what am I supposed to be doing? He goes, you gotta believe you're gonna find a $100 bill. Yeah, right, okay, sounds like the same freaking exercise. And so we're walking through this hotel lobby. He's going, no, you gotta believe, absolutely, you will find a $100 bill. You must, you will, it is gonna happen, you'll find a $100 bill. I'm going, yeah. Okay, so we step into the elevator. I'm still arguing with him. He's looking at me like I'm just absolute numbnuts. And it's like, what? Just look down. There's a $100 bill laying on the floor. Okay. And I'm thinking either he is in fact a master of the universe, or while I wasn't looking, he dropped $100. Whatever. Okay. You can actually test your beliefs either through simple observation, see what I've manifested, or you pick a new belief and try it out and see what happens. There's an even more powerful way to get these kinds of outcomes. Okay? In order to do this, I'm going to probably have to do a volunteer or a little transfer. Okay, Ken, come on. You look like a volunteer to me. You're breathing, you're going to sound my voice. Go ahead, sit down. I want you to think about something that you would really like to have. Can you think of something? Okay. Or is this something you can say out loud? No. Okay. Well, for the purpose of the exercise, let's pick something else. Okay. Now, this could be something material. It could be an occurrence. It could be anything. Something you like to have or something you like to have happen. Can you think of something? Basically a happy guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Here's what I do. How would you know when you've actually achieved it?
When certain criteria are met.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And we're not going to know about what these criteria are.
Well, if you went with the example to say I'm not a happy guy, then you meet the criteria. Content and feeling good.
And that's how you would know that you're basically a happy guy. Okay. Now, how long would this have to happen before you counted yourself a happy guy?
As far as days.
Because I mean, you could be momentarily content, right? Would that make you a happy guy?
For that time period, yeah, but you certainly want to be happy all the time.
Yeah. Or can you imagine a time in your life where you just were a happy guy? It becomes identity as opposed to episode. Okay, cool. Imagine that with your eyes open, your eyes closed.
I suppose.
Okay, close your eyes. I want you to go ahead and I want you to imagine this time, sometime off in the future, when you are, in fact, a happy guy. Not only you know you're a happy guy, but all around people are going, holy cow, that kid, he's a happy guy. Okay, can you imagine that? Now, I want you to tell me, are you inside or outside? He's inside. Is it daytime or nighttime? Daytime, are you alone or with someone? And what are you wearing? Blue jeans and a shirt, he's alone. Okay. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine that out there in your future somewhere, you've spotted exactly where it is that you know you're going to be that happy guy. Okay, and if you were to imagine that your timeline, your future exists as a line right out here in front of you, I want you to notice that not only is there a line in between then and now, but of course, because your future probably continues on, you don't just get to be a happy guy and stop. In fact, it continues to go on, so your timeline goes from here all the way out through all your positive future, and somewhere along that line, you imagine and believe yourself to be a very happy guy. Now, if you were to imagine some calibration markings along there, and this calibration corresponds to time, where is it out there that you can actually see yourself being a happy guy? 3 months from now, okay? Now, keep your eyes closed and stay fixated on that image, those feelings. In fact, you might want to just step into that moment and enjoy right now being that happy guy. That's right, because I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to go out here 3 months into your future. And I'm going to take that picture, and I'm just going to move it back a little bit farther out in time and tell me what happens to the picture as I do that. It gets smaller, okay? What happens to the colors or the distinctness of the images? Fuzzy, okay. Now I'm going to move it back, and so we're right back here in the 3-month period again. Can you imagine the seeing clearly? Okay, now what happens is I go ahead and move it a little bit closer. I'll move it a couple weeks closer. And what happens now? Crisper, yeah, okay. Now, what happens to the intensity of the feeling as you begin to move it closer? Sorry? More intense, that's right. More happiness, perhaps a little more gratification. What happens to the colors and image? Richer, that's right. Okay, now I'm going to move it a couple weeks closer. And what happens? Yeah, that's right. Much more intense. Much more, would you say, is it real or unreal? Much more real, that's right. Okay, because what we're discovering right now is there an assumption you had about when this is going to happen, and then there's a belief and a desire about how soon you can have it if you really want. And I wonder what would happen to you right now if you reached out with this hand and as an act of a will summoned that image so it's right here in front of you. And what happens to the image and your feelings now? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this just a little bit because I'm going to take it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image, I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to fold it up in the shape of a hat. Okay, this hat is the perfect shape of your head, and I want you to reach out here and grab this head hat, hold it in your hand, and turn it around so it faces correctly, because we want to keep facing into the right future, okay? And just go ahead and put it on over your head right now. And how does that change how you feel? It's happening right now. And in fact, if you were to look out 3 months from now, how much happier could you get? Yeah, a lot more. Okay, now here's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to go out and I'm going to take this lot more now future. I'm going to bring this one back right here. I'm going to fold it into a hat head. I want you to reach out, grab your hat head, make sure it's going in the right way. Okay. Then go ahead and pull it over your head and tell me how you feel. Yeah, pretty good. Okay. What would happen if you were able to visualize each and every outcome you want in your life as though they were episodes out there somewhere beginning some point in time? You could probably see each and everything that from right here, right now, you could imagine you do want and to believe that you deserve and that you can have. Almost like a string of pearls out there. And some of them can be similar, some of them can be different, whatever they are. I want you to go ahead and notice how they're all out there right now. And the question is, do you view yourself as moving towards your future? Okay. And just for the sake of experimentation here, I want you to sit right here and imagine your future is actually flowing towards you. So all you have to do is just relax and notice how, as time continues to flow, each and every one of these episodes gets closer and closer, and boop, like you can step right through it. It becomes you, it's part of you, and then you move on. And every time you get something new, you can see a little bit guy is an act of will. If you were to believe that you're the kind of guy who can just go out in the future and find whatever you want and then just bring it back, you could move towards it or it could move towards you. But the important thing is your beliefs and your desires are working in concert to bring that which you want most deep inside. I want you to now form a picture outside your mind of what it's like when you're a genuinely happy guy. And tell me, are you inside or outside? Outside. Are you alone or with someone? Okay, and what are you wearing? Shirts and jeans. Okay, so you've got a pretty good idea of exactly how it wants to manifest this. But before, you had a belief that you had to wait 3 months. What if you were to just, as an act of will, to change your mind and have a belief that whatever you want in terms of how you feel, what you think, and the totality of who you are, could just come zipping in from the future, almost like you could reach out and say, come on, let's go. That's right. And just this simple act of will, bring it in, feel it, believe it, and know that it's true. What's the difference in the image between when you believe it's going to happen and you know it's already happening? Clear, crisp, warm, vibrant, and how do you feel? Absolutely fantastic. That's right. Now, here I want you to think of something that, just to make sure we're on the right track, I want you to think of something that could happen, but it's so unlikely that it's probably just never even come up at all. Can you picture something like that? Okay, now compared to the images that you found on your timeline, where does that improbable occurrence actually show up? Very, very far away. Okay. Now, what's the quality of that image? Barely see it. That's right. Barely perceptible. And in fact, if I were to go all the way out here, very, very far away, and I were to just take it and just move it off the timeline, what happens to the image? It disappears. Because after all, it's not part of your future anymore, right? So if you were to take everything you desire, everything you want to believe, everything you're going to believe, and everything that you want to be true for you, and just imagine that they're right there on your timeline into your future, not fixed, but moving closer with every second that passes by. And that's right. I want you to pay attention to your belief about what's possible. I want you to pay attention to your belief about how rapid change can happen and just how good it can be. And as once again you find these wonderful things moving closer and becoming part of who you are, I want you to tell me what happens to how you feel. It's just going to be true, okay? What once was a challenge is now gone, and instead you can see it as a gleaming opportunity. Isn't that right? That's right. Now just take a deep, deep breath. Take all the time you need over the next few seconds to just take this lesson of learning and lock it in as a part of who you are. And I want you to believe that anything you want, you can in fact manifest. I want you to believe that the universe will answer to your call, and that things that you can imagine the most will, through the power of your mind and the cooperation of a beneficial and positive universe, will in fact become true for you now. You got that? Take a deep, deep breath. Feel the energy circulating all throughout your body. Open your eyes. Come all the way back to the room. And how do you feel?
Well, thanks for the tune-up.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay. Well, when we're working through this, I want you to describe for the people who have not yet done this, what happens to the images when you start moving back and forth in time?
Initially, when you said, or when I said the 3 month time period, here the image was viewable, okay. When you moved it further away, though, it faded, it became dull, you couldn't see it.
If you were to make just a description of what happened to your belief about the plausibility of that outcome, Were there any changes at all as you're moving it back and forth?
Oh, yeah. You know, closer, say, you know, to 10% of where it was initially.
Mhm.
You know, it's rich to call, to reach out and touch it. It's just right here.
Okay, and as you moved it, or as I moved it closer, so we could just calibrate the whole thing. Originally, I started, the first example was about 3 months out, okay? Where, as I was moving it closer week by week, did you make that shift between, I want this, I hope it's going to be true, to the point to where I know it's going to be true?
Probably right when I got the, you know, maybe 3/4 of the way here.
Mhm.
And then when they take them all the way in, right now, it's just right here. It's not
Mhm.
out there.
Okay, so 3/4 of 3 months is about 9 weeks, right? So right now, 9 weeks is your plausibility horizon, okay? The things that he holds more than 9 weeks out, he can want for them, he can hope for them, but until he finds them coming right within that range, then they're not actually going to seem absolutely, utterly believable true. And in 9 weeks, that's the point where you can see it so clearly, you know it's going to happen, you're not going to worry about it, all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like, you know, that if you're in a marathon or a bike race,
Can you hear this? Okay.
It's kind of like if you're in a marathon, or I can picture if you're in a marathon or a bike race, you know you get to that point, you know you're just going to finish. There's no question about it. Or when you're in college, you get to that point when you know that you're going to graduate.
Mhm.
It's just going to happen.
In my case, we went right back down to the last term, because I had to go back and do my freshman count class again. Okay, but yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about. Okay, we're gonna find some people, when you start messing around or investigating your belief systems, you're gonna find some people who will be able to come up with some kind of image about what it is they want, or what it is they tell you, believe is gonna happen. And then you ask them to imagine this line off in the future. And where on that line does that image occur? They're going to start telling you some interesting things. Like they'll tell you that it becomes indistinct when they try to look at it. It gets darker or harder to see. When they look away, they can only see it in their peripheral vision, which tells you they don't actually believe it's going to happen. Okay? When they have that line that's going into their future, and yet they can see something that they really, really want and believe is going to happen, and it's not on the line into the future, what's that mean? It's not going to happen. Their subconscious doesn't actually believe it. Okay? You can use this as a diagnostic tool to find out whether they are in fact fooling themselves, or you can start to change their belief about the possibility and the rapidity of change. Right? Ken started out thinking that he was going to be a truly happy guy in 3 months. Was it 3 months? I think it was 3 months. Right? Which is pretty interesting, because the thing is, if you can imagine something will occur, and he didn't pitch something that was like the lottery that will occur 8 3/4 weeks from now. It actually becomes true at that point. It's not like a fixed event. It doesn't depend on external factors. He's saying, I will become happy. I will be a happy man 3 months from now. And that's why I moved it farther out. And then what happened to the picture? Faded away. Lost colors, became smaller, harder to see, indistinct, which means he doesn't believe it's going to be that far out. Okay? And then I moved it closer, and what happened? Got better. He believes he can have it sooner. And because, sometimes you'll get these people who give you a somewhat paradoxical response where you move that which they most desire and bring it closer, and it becomes more indistinct. And they're telling you, there is just no way with their current belief system that they will allow that to manifest until that particular date. Okay, now because he went ahead and said, you know what, as it gets closer, it gets more distinct, more vibrant. I love that term. Okay, what is vibrant? It becomes more alive, right? Then I went ahead and brought it closer and closer and closer until I found out that he was willing to accept the possibility that he could just go ahead and be happy now. Okay?
It just kind of, as you brought it closer and closer and closer, it just kind of consumes you.
Yeah.
You just become part of it.
It becomes your reality. Literally correct. He's totally open to change, but for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe after having survived years and years and years of medical training that went on fucking forever, okay, He might think that change takes a certain amount of time. I'm not saying that's true, but it's a possible interpretation of what happened here. But because he's perfectly willing to accept this, you want to find, when you're working with your people, you want to find a single, well-formed outcome, and then find out, can they actually figure out when and how they're going to get it? An amazing number of people who come to you for help can't form a well-formed outcome to save their life. And I talked about how you have to visualize it in terms of adding in detail. And then when I had him visualize it, what were the 3 questions I asked him?
Inside or outside?
Inside or outside?
What are you wearing?
Who's with you? And then there's daytime or nighttime. So there were 3 things. Are you inside or outside, alone or with somebody, daytime or nighttime? What are you wearing? Okay, why am I doing this?
Makes it real, right?
You're getting a full sensory association into the actual experience they're describing. If they cannot answer those questions, they can't picture the outcome. They can't feel the outcome is real. Yeah.
If you ever get nonsensical responses to one of the questions, what are you wearing? No, I'm wearing a jacket.
I'd go with it. Okay? I don't know what makes him happy. Right? Yeah.
How about age?
Age?
How old are you?
Okay, that'd be good. You have to calibrate where they are in time. Is that what you mean?
Or how old are you, so that the age difference is now?
Mm-hmm. Right. Maybe that. If I ask, and include to the derivation questions like inside, outside, alone, or with someone, if I ask how old or what is your age as you achieve this goal, okay, in this picture?
Just 2 observations. I don't remember exactly what she said, but when you go out to picture closer and began pounding the ideas that anything was possible, just picture. You really do get filled with a sense of confidence that no matter what you picture, will simply occur. It's just, you get overwhelmed with it.
One of the most critical understandings or beliefs you can possibly have is that your subconscious cannot tell the difference between a vibrant fantasy and objective reality. It cannot tell the difference between that which you imagine most vividly and that which actually occurs. To the subconscious, it's all the same thing. This should occur to you as both an opportunity and a warning sign. The warning sign is think about how you regard that which you fear the most. You tend to have pretty realistic fantasies about it. If you're afraid of public speaking, you imagine vividly standing up in front of people, sweating through your clothes, okay, realizing that you forgot your notes before the start of the seminar, or that, just, you start to go through all these things. You feel the nausea, okay, the cold sweat, the urge to flee. And so your subconscious goes, that's already happened. And so it treats it as though it's vividly real. The opportunity is whatever you want and can describe really, really accurately, and then just go into fantasy land and imagine and believe you already got it. Your subconscious doesn't have a sense of time, remember? We talked about it before, about how the reason you vivify or revivify past trauma is that your subconscious thinks it's still happening. Even though objectively it was over years ago, and you're the last person in the world who's actually thinking about it. It thinks it's real, and it thinks it's still happening. But if you just flip that paradigm over, whatever you can imagine most vividly about the future, and you can just like really get into it. And my advice to you is when you're imagining your desirable outcomes, start throwing in some cool stuff, okay? In your case, not just imagine that you're a relaxed, happy fellow all the time, okay? You might want to throw in, what are people noticing about you? What are they saying as they encounter you being relaxed and happy? Let the movie run. How does all this happiness manifest? You ever notice how when you're in an extraordinarily good mood, the universe gives you stuff? Okay? And when you start feeling self-critical and depressed, what does the universe do? It takes a dump on you. right? Yeah.
One of the times that you feel like you're doing really good and you take on that bad and working bad.
Uh-huh.
You've been too good, now you're going to suffer.
Well, if you encounter that in your visualization of the ideal future, you are in fact illustrating your current belief system, right? Deservedness issues are huge in this line of work. Okay, you can ask people to imagine a time at some point in the future, any arbitrary point in the future, when you're relaxed and happy. They go, all I see is black. Okay, they think they don't deserve to be happy. They think there's absolutely no, I mean, out of the infinite combination of possible futures, there's not one that leads to happiness. So you back up and find out where these deservedness problems actually came from, right? Who gave you the bad information in the first place? But the ability to first go ahead to design and then experience one positive outcome is a critical step in working with any hypnotic subject when you want to change either their beliefs, their behaviors, or their possible futures. Okay, so here's, yeah.
In this scenario, it was not something permanent like a new car or money or certain amount or a job. How would it be different? How would someone run through it where it's something?
Exactly the same. But if what they wanted was, they said, you know, I want to really have a nice car. Because I asked him, I said, well, what do you want in the future? Okay, he wanted to be a happy guy. Thank you, I really appreciate it. He wanted to be a happy guy. So we went with that. Okay, I want a new car. I would then ask them the elicitation questions. What color is it? What make and model? Okay, I'd actually have them imagine driving down the road. Okay, in the example of the cobalt blue Ferrari Testarossa, I'd have them bombing down the freeway, passing cars left and right, noticing how all the drivers are going, oh man, that is so cool. Okay, I'd have them imagine blowing right past the state trooper, gives you a friendly wave because he goes, man, I'd love to have a Ferrari too. Okay? You make it real, and then you find out where in the timeline that occurs.
The Bandler example of the $100, that was something that you were requesting from the universe. How could someone request from the universe with such a visualization, like without just saying I firmly believe? Like what would?
Without saying I firmly believe.
No, but like just beyond saying that, like with visualizing, leading someone through that process, like because until you get to that point where you have that $100 or $1 million, you don't have anything. It's only at that point in time when that's there.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
When you ask for $100, you know, and
Right.
it was only at the point where you got the $100 that you had it. It was only 2 points in time. It wasn't a continuum working its way to the new car. Like the new car, there's
Why do
many
you say
steps.
that? I think you're illustrating your belief system.
Okay.
Okay. What if you step into the future and imagine exactly what it's going to be like when you're, to continue your example, when you're walking down the street, you look down and there's a crisp, shiny $100 bill. Okay. Now, in that particular example, a lot of times when I talk, if I suspect somebody has some kind of deservedness issue or the kind of economy about their willingness for change, okay, I ask them, I say, you got a good imagination? Sure, everybody's got a good imagination. I say, okay, I want you to imagine reaching my pocket, I've got a crisp, shiny $100 bill. I kind of snap it in front of them. You know how to snap it. That's the summon the waiter snap with cash. Okay. I was showing Cassie how to do this at a really nice restaurant the other day. You can summon waiters in really nice restaurants by snapping a dollar bill. They can hear it from like 50 yards away. They don't want to know it. Okay. And then I say, imagine I'm going to put it right here on the floor. And now, if it's right here on the floor and I tell you that if you pick it up, you can have it, are you going to pick it up or are you going to try to pick it up? I go, well, hell yes, I'm going to pick it up. I say, oh, so I guess action gets you what you want as opposed to trying to get something. Right? You had your hand up over there.
Oh, I was just on his point, I was just going to, well, backtrack, I was just going to say that I think what he was asking as well, frankly, is that, and I know it's my own experience, if you haven't had success in a specific area, it's very hard to even train to imagine that success, because once you have it,
it's very easy to say, oh, okay, this is what it feels like.
I don't believe that to be true.
No.
Okay, think about, is there something in life you do well?
Yeah. I was thinking particularly about money, for example.
Okay, that's fine. Wait, answer the question. There is something in life you do well.
Yeah.
Okay, can you remember the first time you attempted it?
Yes.
And how'd you do?
Suck.
That's right. Okay, which means that if you base your ideas about what's possible on your current abilities or your current occurrences, you can only get what you already have. Okay? It's like when somebody is looking around and they're trying to pick a life partner and they start rejecting people because, you know, you're not my type. Well, if you're only going for your type, you can only have a typical experience. If you want somebody who's extraordinary, you have to go outside the ordinary in order to get it, right? I understand what you're saying. You're saying because I've got all this actual physical stuff that I can count on as being real, and yet there's something that I've never imagined before, okay? Like if I were to try to imagine myself on stage at the Tropicana in one of those tutus, okay, doing the feature dance routine, maybe it should be kind of interesting. Don't follow me there, okay? But you can also go, you know what? I can imagine anything. Anything. The plausibility test is not, can I find an analog in my life right now? Because if that were true, you could only extend what you already experienced or already know.
You can only repeat experiences, you can never have new ones.
That's right. You can get some incremental improvement, perhaps, but you're not going to have these big leaps. Okay? But if for just as long as necessary to complete the exercise, you're capable of believing anything, and I mean anything, even to the point of the state trooper is going, hey, cool, man, you know? Can surprise you with things that you never anticipated or you never thought possible. If you are actually imagining things really vividly, freeing your imagination, because when you free your imagination, your subconscious will start to throw in details you hadn't thought before. But it's all because the conscious mind was limiting you, and your subconscious goes, you know what? This is possible too. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to break up and I want you to work with, can someone find a single well-formed outcome, make sure that they can describe it accurately, realistically, close their eyes, create the timeline, find out where they expect to find it, move it back and forth on the timeline, see what happens to the quality of the image, because that tells you their realistic expectations about when it's going to happen. And even though we are pressed for time, I want each of you as a subject to do two things. One is pick something outside of the realm of hypnosis that you really, really want. I mean, you really, really want. Okay, and the second example is I want you to pick the moment in time when you know you're going to be a master hypnotist and find out when you expect this to happen. Okay? Questions? Cool. Pick apart. Like that?
Yeah.
How does it feel to figure out that you can not only get what you want, but you can probably get it faster than you ever thought possible? Great. Oh, yeah. Now, if you were to actually go on and do this exercise yourself and just continue to accelerate the change, you could actually start to get exactly what you want faster than you ever thought possible. Okay? Like in Ken's case, he can just turn into a happy guy right now. Now, so some people came up and asked questions during the exercise, and they're going, well, geez, you know, and you were working with Ken, you brought the picture all the way up, and it actually got clearer, brighter, and more distinct. And well, when I brought my subject's picture up, it actually got a little bit more blurry. What's up with that? Ken had no barrier to the idea that he could go ahead and be happy now. Okay, he expected it to take a certain amount of time, but then when you show him a vivid example of how he can just go ahead and do it now, I was kind of fooling around. It was towards the end of my day, so you know, I took his anticipated outcome, folded it up to a head hat and had him wear it, and so like that. I was amusing myself. But it makes it vivid and real, right? Because it becomes your head, and you believe it now. But when you bring the image closer to somebody and it starts to lose clarity or color or distinctness, What that means is they don't believe it can happen within that time frame. So instead, when you have that occur, instead of continuing to bring it closer and then have them try to move into this blurry, indistinct picture, all you're going to do is have them try to step into something that they don't yet believe is real or true or possible or that they deserve. So if in fact when you're moving them closer, it gets indistinct, smaller, colors fade, whatever, it's like the quality of the picture degrades, move it back to the point where it is absolutely the most clear, and then move the subject into the picture instead of the picture into the subject, right? You want them to associate into it at the moment with greatest clarity and greatest power, because it makes the most vivid impression.
I felt intimidation as one of my images got closer. I got more and more just like
Whoa,
anxious about it.
yeah.
Like, this was a thick emotion, just backed it up, and I'm like, wow, it's much better.
Okay, back it up to the point where you believe you're
It was
ready for
It was
it.
realistic at the point it was. It was like too accelerated.
Uh-huh.
Pushing so much closer.
Then what happened?
She tried to make me a hat.
She tried to make you a hat. How'd that work?
She did. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, we're fine. It seemed to, since it changed the imagery, changed the dynamic meaning in my past, whatever, I didn't feel uncomfortable with that imagery. But when I had a clear, crisp, looking at a new scenario that I was in, bringing that closer, I felt like all the tendencies that were attached to creating that image, and that bringing it too close to that would cause other problems. It was too much for me to contain at that moment.
Okay. Right, yeah. Your subconscious will actually throw up obstacles if it thinks there's some kind of valid reason why you can't have it that fast or shouldn't have it that fast. Now, head hats can actually be very valuable therapeutic tools. Okay? You're not going to find many of these in mainstream courses, but I use head hats all the time. Okay? Let me give you a real simple example. All of you know what it's like to be you as a hypnotist, right? Okay, so I want you just to imagine, just for a few moments, that you're a hypnotist, you have a subject, and go ahead, just picture, visualize, feel, think, smell, hear exactly what it's like for you being a hypnotist working with a subject. Okay, now let that go. And instead, I want you to imagine, don't actually do this, literally, but imagine that you could walk up here and just pop my head off my shoulders, okay? Walk back to your seat, and then place my head over your head so that you can see what I see. You can hear what I hear. You can notice the opportunities that I see, and you can have running through your head all the thoughts and beliefs about someone who really is the master hypnotist. And wearing my head like a hat, imagine what it's like to be a hypnotist and to work with a subject. When you got that, just open your eyes and come all the way back to the room. Okay, anybody notice any different? No, hands are going up all over the room? Yeah.
Did I notice any difference when I put your head on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to tell them what I've been thinking.
I won't let the secrets out.
Okay.
I just felt like, yeah, anything I did to the subject would work perfectly. Anything less than perfect would just be corrected.
Actually did, when you wear my head like a hat, is a very advanced profound trance phenomenon called trance identification. Okay, but instead of spending 20 minutes building your circle of excellence and stepping in and all that, like, screw that, just rip my head off. You know? And you can do the whole thing, it's not just the head. Okay? If you want, let's say you play a sport, okay, and you know somebody who plays the sport better than you. Step into them. Steal their entire freaking body. Okay? Just, step into it, zip it up like a wetsuit. Okay? Jam their head onto yours and walk around, see, feel, play as though you were this other person. Right.
Yeah, one of my inductions for guitarists is for them to pick their favorite guitarist, who they've probably seen in videos or TV. step into their body, feel how they feel as they're playing. Now, that's not going to turn anybody off the street into Jimi Hendrix, but what it is that there's certain kinesthetic cues that you can integrate, that you see, that you can integrate in yourself, taking only what you want. It works really good. And you can keep on going through all the guitars you want.
The thing is, when you wear somebody's head like a hat, or when you step into them in order to find out what's it like to move through the world like them, be aware that you don't want to bring back everything you find. You're going to find that there are a lot of highly talented, self-torturing people out there. Okay? Now, when I was talking about wear my head like a hat, I used a specific example of me hypnotizing somebody. Okay, and there I am, relaxed, happy. I mean, oh my God, I do this all day. Well, I do this all day, every day. Yeah, oh my God, I wear my head like a hat. Okay? But you might have done something like step into Mark on the night before a seminar. Okay? Where I'm deep into torturing myself intensely. Okay? When you do deep trance identification, you will find out the crap as well as the things of value. You only need bring back the things that are of value to you and just let the rest go. Okay? Because the fact is, even somebody who's somebody that you aspire to emulate, somebody who you think has got an extraordinary skill set, great attitudes, or just, I mean, it's like, I know this guy who there is absolutely nothing in his life that I want except for one thing. And that is, this guy unerringly, without fail, finds a parking spot right outside where he wants to go. Honest to God, I mean, we can pull into the parking lot of the LA Forum, okay, right before game time, okay, and there's like a gazillion cars there, and he'll just drive right up outside the gate, and there's a space there. Okay, unbelievable. Yeah.
I do that.
You do that?
For years. Oh, yeah. I just ask my angels, okay, I'm getting ready to go there.
I just asked my angels. There's an assumption there.
They don't have to take on what I do, but it works for me.
Uh-huh.
Then I just tell them, okay, I'm going to be there, find it, get me a spot. And it works for me. I will get right up front.
Well, the universe responds to your direction, then, doesn't it? Now, the gentleman who's actually sitting on the forum there raised the point earlier about the things you've already experienced are plausible, and can this get in the way of your ability to just fantasize wildly about what could be? The thing is, you don't do this once and then stop, right? It's not a one-shot technique, you know, save it up for the one point in your life when you really need it, use it because it's all gone now. You need to do it several times, repeatedly, and here's why. For all you digitals, you'll love this. You need to write it down. Okay. Let's say, I'm going to use myself as an example. Okay. You all seen one of these? It's a multiple access graph. Okay. This access is the passage of time. Okay. This axis measures the degree of way cool Marcus. Okay. Now, here I am right here at this point in time. This is the 0, point. My current state of Marcus, right now. Okay, so I go, just how Mark-like can I possibly be? I start to imagine enhancements, additions, changes, cool stuff. And I can even let my imagination just roam out as far as I can possibly go at this moment in time. And I go, you know what? The really optimum level of Markness is up here. And so I do the exercise we just did. And I figure out, well, how quickly, at what point, can I exhibit what I currently imagine to be the ultimate level of Markness? Okay? And I get a time hack, And then the intersection of these two things is right here, and so I know my trajectory is up like this. Okay? But see, the thing is, I can only imagine what this mark knows about, can't imagine things as plausible, think I deserve. Okay, a little time goes by, I become even more Mark-like. I end up right here, and I treat this as a 0-0 point. Right? I'm there, I'm arrived, but this is a different Mark. Enhanced, personality intact, changes and modifications made. And there I am. And so I asked myself, just how Mark-like can I really be? And this Mark goes, I've got more experience, I've got more input. Maybe I'm a little bit more free with my imagination because I've already used my imagination and it worked out great. So from this point, I go, how far can I drive this Markness thing without bursting into flames? And I go, well, you know what? I can imagine a Mark that's up here somewhere. Okay, maybe I figure it's going to take a little bit longer because it's going to be cooler. And so the time hack is down here, but the actual quality of Markness is up here. And so my trajectory changes. But I'm still becoming more Mark-like as time goes by. And then when I'm right here, or even if you want to get to the advanced application of this technique, just don't stop asking the questions, right? Let that imagination run free, okay? And continue to each point in time. Trust that it doesn't matter whether this is accurately the most Mark-like I could ever be. It doesn't matter, because anytime I feel I'm wandering off track or I have new, better ideas, I can just go ahead and imagine more cool stuff, right? It's like when I was talking about how I'm working, I was talking this morning, I guess it was, about how one of my personal challenges is I'm working on becoming more brash. Okay, well, those of you who've seen me outside the classroom, walking around in real life, I'm pretty fucking brash already. Okay, but I'm not going to quit, because as I learn more and I become more, I can imagine more, I can continue to grow more. Okay, I firmly expect to be lying on my deathbed going, wait, I got more, I can imagine more. It just keeps going. So it doesn't even matter whether you actually pick this, because sometimes you go along, and let's say that I'm following this trajectory, and I find out that, well, maybe I've reached the point of brashness where people are beginning to pummel me about the head and shoulders, okay? Which means maybe I ought to be heading off in a different direction, or maybe I ought to change this axis entirely. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that you are asking the questions. Who am I now? Who can I be? If I were to be somebody different, how would I know that's true? When do I expect it to happen? Can I make it come sooner? Or do I need to work a little bit more in order to get there faster? Right? You just keep asking these questions and following this process. And it never ends. Never ends. My mother's 75, 77, something like that. I don't know, she's old. Okay. Older than me. Okay? And so I asked her a couple of years ago, I said, so Mom, I said, how old were you when you actually had it figured out and you just got it all licked? Okay, after the wild laughter died down, she's you gotta understand. She said, even people my age are walking around thinking they're 18. My mom believes in her heart of hearts she's 18. Okay, and if you're around my mom, you see evidence of it all the time. She's just laughing, happy, bubbly, sweet, loving, just not just because she's my mom, and she's actually pretty cool, okay? But she's still on the journey. She's still figuring that stuff out. She's trying new things. She's signing up for new classes. And she's doing all this kind of stuff. Because if you don't do this, you never get beyond this, right? Which is what we were talking about, is if you don't just let it run free, you can never go any farther than you already are. In technical terms, you're stuck. In vivid technical terms, you're fucked. The little time we have remaining today, I want to talk about something called journaling. Okay? Journaling is an exercise I assign to all my subjects. It's something you ought to be doing yourself. Now, normally if someone were to say, I want you to start journaling, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh, shit.
Diary. Okay? Now, I don't want you to, what is that? Oh, okay. Yeah. Journaling is not about keeping a diary. It is not about, it is not about writing in a book. One of the possible outputs of the journaling process can be words on paper. And I occasionally do this. I keep records of my mental experiments. Right? I keep records of what it is I wanted to do, what I did, what was the outcome. I also keep a record of what was the weather like, what day of the week was it daytime, nighttime, how did I feel before I started doing this, okay, and I just keep this, it's like my own book of shadows, right, so that I can track my experiments, my results, and I can go back, in the years to come, and look back at these previous records, and go, oh, yeah, I used to do this and it worked, maybe I ought to keep on doing it. Okay, have you ever do this? Like, you learn this way cool new technique, and you do it, and it works, and you go, God damn, that's great. And you don't do it again. Right? It's like, what are you thinking? Reinforce success. A lot of times you're coached to say, well, identify your strengths and weaknesses and work on your weaknesses. Right? That's what they tell low-level employees. You know what they tell executives? Screw the weaknesses, concentrate on your strengths. Okay? So that's one output of my journaling. But the actual journaling process starts with an assessment of strength. Strengths. Multiple strengths. Okay? I want you to be honest. What are the things about yourself that are really good, really beneficial? What do you know how to do? Okay, what are the really great characteristics about yourself? Make a list. Okay, and I like to tell people, go down to a bookstore, they sell these blank books. They're like 8.5 by 11, about an inch thick. Okay, buy one of those. Why? You can't rip pages out. Okay, none of this 3-ring binder shit. We don't revise history, we record it. And you do a realistic assessment of your strengths. Then what you do is you never, ever, ever make a list of your weaknesses. Why? Yeah, you make them real. Okay? Instead, what you make a list of is obstacles to your power. The third thing you do is you write up your goals. And these are all well-formed goals. Not unlike Jessica Simpson. Strike that. Just a thought. Okay, when you write down what your goals are, I don't want to know that one of your goals is that you're going to be a master hypnotist. I want you to write down that you are a master hypnotist, practicing at Palo Alto, in a privately held firm, with 3 assistants, no assistants, what your workload's going to be, what your income's going to be, how the public sees you. I mean, let's figure out what this goal actually is, so you know when you've got it. Okay? And then when you've got those, like I say, when you write your list, write them down on paper. But you want to carry these inside So when you're writing something down, it better be real. It better be clear, because you're going to have to remember this all day, every day. Because every day you ask yourself a series of questions. The first question is, what can I do today to increase my strength? The second thing you ask yourself every day is, what have I done, what am I doing to remove obstacles to my power? And the third thing you ask yourself, any guesses? What did you do to realize your goals? Those of you who work for other people, who work for an enterprise or an organization, will find that there will be days when you're sitting at home at the end of the day and you start to reflect and you're running the journaling exercise in your head and you go, what did I do to increase my strengths today? Nothing. Okay. What did I do to decrease the obstacles to my power? Nothing. What did I do today to realize my goals? Can't think of a single fucking thing, right? Which means day after day you're sitting at 0-0. And how does this make you feel? Another day older, deeper, and dead, right? Why isn't my life going anywhere as though it's someone else's responsibility to drive? You know, or there goes my life, I better follow. Old army joke. There they go, and I must follow them because I'm their leader. Every day you ask yourself, given what my strengths are, what have I done to increase my strengths? Okay, and when you build up something new and you get really good at it, add it to that list of your strengths. It's an asset. Okay, what did I do today to remove obstacles to my power? Now, you'll find that most of the obstacles to your personal power are not outside yourself, right? You're getting in your own damn way all day, every day. If only because you went through the entire day without doing anything to realize your own goals. This is a very powerful exercise. It can be a horrifying exercise to complete. And because you're going to start to notice all the time that goes by without trying to get better, without trying to avoid getting worse, or to even get that which you want most in your life. Right? You discover that you actually are one of the sheeple instead of one of the people. Right? And it's a choice. It's a choice every day. When I was talking earlier about how if one of the things that severely irritated you in the past 30 days is your job, you got to change your job. Okay, how many people here go, oh, that's not realistic, that's not me? What, are you just like learning quickly, or you're all saying nobody thought this? Okay, cool. Yeah.
I was raising my hand because I thought.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I thought it was realistic at this moment.
Yeah. The thing is, we're all fairly educated, fairly competent, fairly intelligent people here. You can probably make money a lot of different ways. You can probably make more money doing the same thing for a different organization. You ever job hop and discover this? I mean, you know how you hire in an organization, and because they want you to hire in, that's why they hire you. They give you a nice, attractive compensation package. Okay, but once you're an employee, they don't have to worry about you anymore. Okay? The next person who hires in for the same job at the same level, in all probability, is going to get a more attractive package. And you go, well, how come I can't get paid that much? And they go, well, that's outside the envelope of your 3.5% annual increase. Right? Those of you who ever work for the corporations, you know this is vividly true. Okay? Maybe you can increase your income just by doing the same thing, but for different people. Okay? Maybe you can increase your perceived compensation by, instead of doing job X in Minneapolis in the winter, you can do it in Santa Barbara year-round. Okay? Maybe you get paid a little less money, but you can actually go outside and not die. You know? Many people see this as a benefit. Okay? So, every day you run through the mental process until it becomes reflexive. And you find yourself being offered an opportunity and you go, well, wait a minute. You know, if you'd asked me a year ago, I probably would have gone for that like a shot. But you know what? It's not on the path to my goals. Now you can combine exercises. Okay, take the one we just did and find out. Then run it again. Only this time pay attention to how, on the way to realizing your life's ambition, what strengths did I increase? What obstacles did I make go away? And what are the things I had to do in order to actually achieve my goals? Right? A lot of you found some surprises when you did this last exercise. I talked to one guy who said, I went to put my ideal outcome out there, but when I went to put it out there, it turned out it had different content. It was a different ideal outcome. So what's up with that? It's because your subconscious decided to tell you the truth. You know? Instead of wanting what you think or were taught you're supposed to want, your subconscious goes, you know what? That sorry bastard asked for a picture. Now, if he asked for words, the conscious mind would have answered. Okay? But he wants a picture, so your subconscious will pops it right in there because that's what it knows you actually want. Right? And as you move forward, because what happened? Okay? And every day is one of these conditioning things you do. We actually write a journal every day. We like to think that we go along and we maintain a public facade, and then it's our private self, and the people are really fooled. You know? They can't tell. I mean, you do realize that if you're out in public acting like somebody that you're not, what you're actually doing is broadcasting that you're the kind of person who acts like someone he's not or she's not. Okay? You ever all go out in public and see one of these? Okay? You're sitting there and you're laughing, talking. I mean, well, we've been seeing them a lot this week. Because people are out there in full costume. And you see somebody come walking. Let's say you see a guy coming in and he's actually insecure around women. And so what does he do? He psychs himself up. I mean, he wears the Italian designer clothes. He wears the correct body spray. Okay, and he comes cruising in like he is Rico Suave. Okay, how long does it take you to spot him as a poser? Like 0 seconds, right? And everybody, I mean, no one is fooled. You can spot these people, except for sociopaths, and don't worry about that because nobody can spot them. You can only just, you spot them by the wreckage that follows them. Okay. But the thing is, you can't pretend your way through this. You're actually creating a life record. You are writing the journal of your life every moment of every day. And an objective observer can look at you. They can look at your friends and family, your coworkers. They can look at the achievements you leave behind, and they can look at the wreckage you leave behind. And they know exactly who you are. All I'm saying is, since everybody else can figure this out, maybe you ought to make the effort to do it yourself. When you teach this to clients, they'll be coming back with, oh my God, reactions. Okay? You'll have, I've caused divorces with this exercise. Okay? I mean, you have these nice housewifey types who bought into the American housewife disease, and they're spending all the time taking care of everybody else, and they're getting more and more bitter, more and more frustrated, gaining more and more weight, having less and less sex the whole time. Okay? Until finally they reach the breaking point, and they're so desperate they actually sit down and talk to a hypnotist. We take all their stress away so they can start to think things clearly. We have well-formed outcomes, and they find out what their goals really are, and how they can actually, all the things they dreamt about as a girl, okay, I have that now. And then they do this, and they look at, you know what? I just spent another goddamn day picking up dirty laundry, making meals, taxing people all over the place. And at the end of the day, nobody even said thank you. Okay, I have caused more than one divorce. know, I've been there at the inception of more than one divorce. When people look through this and they realize the life they're leading cannot possibly lead to their goals. You'll have people come back and say, you know, I think I'm doing this exercise incorrectly because it seems like I'm increasing my obstacles and reducing my strengths. They're not doing the exercise incorrectly. They got a wrong life. They have a significant life problem. Okay? There is no one in the world who's going to step in and save you. There is no one in the world who will consistently sacrifice their well-being for yours. It's up to you, boys and girls. The only way you're going to become the kind of people you want, the only way you're going to take your natural gifts and allow them to flourish and develop, the only way you're going to take the obstacles, either things that just happened or imprinted on you or the ones you've generated yourself, the only way you are going to reach the things that you actually want to have in this oh so short ephemeral life is if you fucking pay attention every day. What's going on? What am I doing? What did I do? And what do I do next? There's a famous question in our line of work, which is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Ever played this game? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you choose to do? Now, when you answer that question yourself, did you just pick something that's not currently on your goal list? If so, what the hell are you doing? The fact is, you can't fail. You can't. You can find out that you come closer or farther away from that which you thought was the ideal. But following the plateau method I have back there, you're going to get a hell of a lot farther when you just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. What would you do differently if you knew that time was running out? Now, I don't want to say that every individual's life has a finite endpoint, because it's so fucking obvious, I don't think I have to mention it, okay? What would you do if you were aware of the passage of time? We don't pay that much attention to time when we're having significant achievement, we're having a lot of fun, okay? How do you feel about time that goes by and you made no progress? Okay? There's a silly old saying about how, you know, why die with regrets? The whole thing about nobody's lying on their deathbed going, shit, I should have worked more. You know? Or I say, I should have played more, I should have loved more. Right? Find the significant, worthwhile goals. And every day orient yourself towards, I want to be better. I want to get rid of the stuff that's holding me back. And I'm going to get what I want.